All right, and we are back. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We'll get to your calls here in just a second. Not even 3 weeks ago, just under a month ago, Chase Burns was in Chattanooga. Chase Burns in Chattanooga was dominating. I mean, he mowed through the competition in Dayton, dominated in a short stint in Chattanooga. In fact, probably made a little bit of a longer start in Chattanooga than we expected. Because the big question mark was, why is Chase Burns not in Louisville? Well, it was the president of baseball operations, of course, Nick Kroll, that came out and said he needs to stay in Chattanooga a little longer just because there's some things he needs to work on. Well, he made one more start in Chattanooga after that, then gets called up to Louisville, a couple starts, and then boom, they call him up. Now, I'm here to tell you, I'm a big Chase Burns fan. I think that, he's the Reds' number 1 prospect. He's the baseball's number 11 prospect. He is a future ace for the Cincinnati Reds team. There's no doubt about it. But the question I have is, why did the Reds call him up? Why do they need to call up Chase Burns? And the reason I say that is, well, Justin, he's their number 1 pitching prospect. Fine, but there's a designated timeline and a right time and place of when to do this. Hunter Green was a big-time pitching prospect for the Reds. Did you know Hunter Green, he pitched 49 games in the minors, and he threw for 200-plus innings before being called up to the Cincinnati Reds. He was also, and Chase Burns, by the way, is a hell of a get for the Reds. I mean, you got to think back when the Reds got Hunter Green, that was like a big deal. That because the Reds paid a lot of money to get him. All right, they were able to sign him, and they took their time with him, and they made sure they knew he was a future ace of this team, and they did it right. They took care of him. They developed him. 200-plus innings. All right, as I stated, 49 games he pitched in the minors before being called up to the Cincinnati Reds. Nick Lodolo, another bigger pitching prospect for the Cincinnati Reds. I wouldn't put him on Chase Burns' level, but he's a guy that had a great stuff in college and had great stuff early in his minor league run. How long did his minor league runs last? He threw for 94 innings in his minor league run, and he pitched 30 games. Hell, let's go look at Andrew Abbott. Andrew Abbott wasn't looked at as a potential ace, but, the kid developed like crazy. And I think he's the second best pitcher. I think he's way better than Nick Lodolo at this point. I think he's, as of right now, with Hunter Green on the shelf, he's their best pitcher. He's their second best pitcher overall. Andrew Abbott, he pitched in 80 innings, 43 games. Chase Burns, 13 games. 13 games. Hunter Green, 43 games. Nick Lodolo, 30 games. Andrew Abbott, 43 games. Chase Burns, 13. And by the way, all 3 of those guys were very, very good throughout their minor league run. Let's not sit here and act like, well, Chase Burns has been really, really good during the match. He has. But I do believe you have to take your time, and it's not so much about what they're doing when they're out there. It's about the reps. And the fact that he hadn't necessarily been challenged to, we didn't know how he was going to respond. He responded poorly last night. He let that snowball out of control. He made 0 adjustments. If he was tipping his pitches, we don't know yet. We're going to talk about that with Charlie Goldsmith coming up here around the corner. But I blame Nick Kroll. I don't think this kid was ready to be called up. And just because he struck out the first 5 batters against the Yankees and looked very, very good against them doesn't mean that he's still prepared to do this, because on any given night, we could see what we saw against the Yankees, or we could see what we saw last night. Now, you could say that about anybody. But at least I know that Hunter Green put in the time, that Nick Lodolo put in the time, Andrew Abbott put in the time, that these cats put in the time. No time has been put in. 13 starts is all this kid made throughout Dayton, Chattanooga, Louisville. And the question I have is, they didn't need to call him up. Well, they were without Hunter Green. Guys, they've been playing some of their best baseball without Hunter Green all season. I said this was another topic that rubs some people the wrong way when I said it's not like the Reds don't need Hunter Green, but they've been so good with their pitching that they haven't needed Hunter Green, which is why they didn't need to rush him back off the IL the first time, which then led to this second IL stint, and they need to take their time this go-round, and I believe that they are. But I believe that this I believe that this Chase Burns call-up was premature and unnecessary, and I think last night, I don't blame Chase Burns, I don't blame Terry Francona, I blame Nick Kroll. Chase Burns should not have been called up. And guys, just so we're clear, so you guys know that I'm not overreacting, That day that he debuted with the Yankees, I said this then. I was not a fan of them calling him up then. I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm not trying to stir the pot or be a shock jock here. You can go rewind the tape. Go back to that day when the Reds played the Yankees. Everyone was drooling and losing their mind. And I said, even if he goes out there and throws 9 innings of shutout baseball, he's not their ace. And if he gets rocked, he's not a bust. I said it was too early for him to be called up. It was not necessary. One more time, if you're just joining us, Hunter Greene pitched over 200 innings in 49 games before he got called up to the Reds. And you could say, well, he also got hurt during his stint, so they had to take a little bit more time with him. Fine. Nick Lodolo pitched in 30 games, almost double the amount of games that Chase Burns did, and threw for 94 innings. 13 games is all we saw from Chase Burns. That's not enough. That's not enough. And I kind of understand what Nick Krall meant when he said there's some things that the kid needs to work on. How do you go from a couple weeks ago to the kid has some stuff to work on to we're calling him up? Go get him, big guy. Not a fan of it, especially because they didn't need to. You knew you were going to get Hunter Greene back at some point. Sounds like it's trending in the right direction. He's in Boston. He's throwing some bullpen sessions. He's going to be making a rehab start here once he's comfortable. And then when he gets back, what are you going to do? You're going to have a 6-man rotation. I'm not saying that's a horrible thing. Who's the odd man out if you're going to stick to just the traditional 5, though? Hunter Greene comes back. You're right back to Hunter Greene, Nick Lodolo, Brady Singer, Andrew Abbott, Nick Martinez. You're right back to that original rotation that you had to start the season. Chase Burns, 6th. Not the worst, I guess. You save the arm of obviously Hunter Greene. We can get into that more later.